G'day, Chief. This is the Inner Chief Podcast, episode 344. Our Minisode today is continuing our Think Like a CEO series, and our topic today is overcoming resistance to change. This is one of the most difficult and stressful parts of business. If you're in a senior leadership role of a significant business, we all know you're under pressure to deliver. We all know there's going to be some resistance by different folks in different parts of the business, and just getting them on the train, getting them to play nice with others, to try new things and not be so slow, can be an incredibly difficult journey. I've been involved in a lot of transformations now, Chiefs, and I've seen every mistake under the sun. I've made any number myself. I've seen some of the most outrageous activities that just somehow made a massive difference, that they really shouldn't have had that level of impact, but they did. And what I've learned is the CEOs and the senior leaders that can make change happen do a few things that others forget. The trap that we get ourselves in is we get to work, we got a bunch of projects plus business as usual that we need to work through, and we forget that there is a whole range of other factors we need to carefully and intentionally consider and build into our approach, so when we go about leading change, it actually works. So I want to share with you 5 things today that I know have worked for me and others in the past. And if you get them right and you really apply it, will make an immediate, tangible difference to the momentum you're getting in your change. The first step is this. Is actually the very first step we do on the Mini MBA, by the way, is we stop and we pause and we understand the context of the business and the team and where it's operating. How's the business performance? This is really important, because if you're leading change in a business that's shooting the lights out, it's a very different process to someone who's leading change in a business that is flat or losing money. And that adjusts your style of leadership. In short, if the business is not performing well, it's much more directive, command and control style leadership, because a lot of people are really struggling and unsure what to do. And if we don't move fast, the organization is going out the back door, right? As opposed to when we've got this amazing business that's shooting the lights out, change is about purpose and inspiration and vision and achieving our greatness, leaving a legacy, a very different kind of journey. We need to understand the history of the business and how much change in the business has been going on for some time. If the business has been overloaded and there's been, for instance, the deck chairs of the senior leadership team have been changing and rotating almost constantly, you're going to find the level of trust within the business is low. And you're going to have to earn the right to make the change. I remember the first time we turned up in Africa to lead a big turnaround of a mine site. I'll never forget the looks on people's faces. It was, first and foremost, they hated us because we were just another bunch of expats, imperialists, turning up to take all the gold or whatever we were mining out of the ground. Number 2, we were like the 21st set of leaders that have turned up there. These guys have been there forever, right? And all these expats keep coming in thinking they know better. So when we actually stuck around and started to make a difference, and were the first ones to ever do that and actually care about them, they still didn't trust us for some time. And that was understandable, right? It was expected. But if we didn't stop to really think about that for a minute and say, hey, we actually have to go a little bit slower here. Go slow to go fast. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. We had to really apply that and just take the time to understand the context. And that meant for us build a bit more trust first. So that's number one, understand the context. Number two, never forget how people change. Everyone is going along a change curve from full resistance, right, through some level of compliance, through to, wow, this is the way we do things around here, right? And in an organization, in a team, your people will be spread along a bell curve of how fast they respond. That is normal. That is everyone. If you think and you bring to work an expectation that everyone is going to shift at the same speed, you'll only be disappointed and lose. And you will apply pressure on people that take a bit more time and are different kind of characters and different kinds of personalities. You'll put pressure on them in a way that's actually not fair and doesn't look after and respect their diversity. So we need to make sure we just remember that people change at different speeds. Then we lead each of them accordingly. Their resistance might be because of personality. It might be because of a lack of trust. It might be, and see previous episode on how to build confidence in your people, it might be because they don't know how to make the change you want them to make. They might not know, have the mindset, the process, or the skill. So situational leadership for each and every person is required, right? Now, you've all heard this. This isn't new. Of course, we want to leverage our champions. And that is absolutely what to do. Leverage your champions. But most people are happy to get in a little bit of a toxic relationship with your laggards, with the slow people. Often, the key to the sale is those people. Very often, they have a great wisdom. Not all of them. A lot of them have real justifiable reasons to question the speed or the quality of the way we're going about something. And you want to actually tap that. So sometimes it's about, as I said, that slowing down, remembering this person's slow on the bell curve for a reason. We go and seek to understand what's happening for them. And you spend a little bit more time seeking to understand what's going on for them. Guarantee you they'll move along at a nice, steady pace, cautious, probably for all the right reasons. So, Chief, remember, we all change at different paces for a whole range of reasons. Situational leadership is required. Third is to remember your role. Recently, I was on a mini MBA call, and one of the team put up this graphic of how to lead. And it was a picture of a pack of wolves. It was an aerial picture of this pack of wolves going through a forest, and the alphas were at the back protecting the weak while the rest of the team moved forward. And the leader said, hey, I really love this analogy of leadership. And what struck me about it was it's actually a reasonably poor analogy for leadership in business, right? Because we're not wolves, number one. We don't have people about to attack our weak, right? And number three, in that situation, everybody knows the way. They're in territory that they know the way. When we're dealing with change, leaders must lead. You must show the way. You've got to get up there and show the vision and be the chief energy officer. Sure, you have to look after those people that we've got to bring along the journey and keep looking after and help them grow. But leaders lead. And all the best leaders of change, I've noticed, bring their people with them. Now, they celebrate the successes of everyone. They take responsibility for the failures and all these wonderful things. But I just see too many times people not standing up, being the bold version of their personality and leading properly. So you've got to lead, Chief. Be curious with your people. Of course, you've got to manage your process. And that's something we cover in depth in our programs about being clear what is a priority and what is not. This is your role, right? lead your people, lead the process. Get the priorities right. Remove the things that are not priority. You have to actually say to people that is being stopped until a future date or completely cancelled. What you say is out is just as important as what you say is in. As you're going along, we must also be sure we're tracking the changes and demonstrate the momentum and the journey you've been on. The more you can show, and this might be a big Gantt chart on a wall or in your monthly strategic projects committee kind of meeting, showing the progress you've made creates this sense of energy and momentum in a group. And when you do that, it just stops the resistance. Hey, we're on a journey. We're now moving and we're getting in the right place. So this is all about understanding your role, Chief. Leaders lead, be curious, and manage your process. Step 4, Chief, is to manage yourself. I remember very personally when I was my last role in a leadership position before I went into coaching. I was leading this big rollout of what's called ITIL or IT service management across the state of Queensland for a very large government department with 1,300 sites. I was only a young guy. I was 27 at the time. And I was very much out of my depth from a leadership skill set. And what happened was over time, I got overwhelmed by the amount of work, the number of emails. And I'll never forget this. One day, started having a conversation, we turned into a bit of a debate, and then it became a bit of an argument with another guy, a senior member of staff in the office. And I really just lost my cool. And I sort of gave it to him, both barrels. And I realized afterwards that, gee, I just dropped the ball there. Like there was nothing gained from that interaction at all. And it was because I hadn't managed self. I just slowly, like frog in slowly boiling water, got more and more overwhelmed and stressed, to the point when it would have been him or anyone who crossed me that day. I was fed up, frustrated, had no energy left to fight the good fight. So you have to manage self and keep yourself in good fitness and good health and good mental health. Right? These days, man, we look after ourselves here at Chief Maker. My team and I, we all work out 4, 5, 6 times a week. We look after ourselves physically, meditate, or journal. I keep on top of my own self. Without that, I would not be able to maintain the pace we maintain. Okay? Most people in this managing self piece, they get caught up in the minor things. They end up majoring in minor things because they're caught up in the overwhelm. Now, we actually do the opposite, right? We maintain a pace of working on bigger things that make a real difference as opposed to crap underneath. And what that means is everyone's on board because we're healthy, we've got good vitality, we're clear minds, and we're all focused on a range of things that are just, they're good things to work on, right? And it's when you're working on crap, the minor stuff, the people lose hope, lose energy, okay? So manage yourself. And the last one is definitely one of the most uncommon tricks I've ever seen used by CEOs, is you're going to have, particularly in this resistance to change environment, a pattern of people having a fixed mindset. And when people have a fixed mindset, that is, they're not growing anymore. They cannot see or will not change. So what's really going on there, if you think about their neurology and the work of Norman Doidge around brain plasticity, is an important piece of context here. When the brain has stopped learning, all those neural pathways sort of lock in and get a bit stuck, and it runs this really unhelpful, unresourceful pattern. But when the brain is learning anything, we start to evolve as a person. And I might learn one thing over here, and it will generalize into my understanding of something over here. So you might listen to a podcast on parenting. The next thing over here, oh, I've got to do something different at work around the way I manage boundaries, right? Or You might learn something over in listen to a podcast on operating rhythm or managing difficult stakeholders or how to overcome resistance to change. And next thing you know, you've got something for parenting your resistant kids, right? So what we want to do here is break the fixed mindset pattern. And here's some examples of this. I was working with a major retailer once, and they had a particular group of leaders that were involved in the design of the products that were in shops. And they had been through a lot of change over a long period of time, and they were over it, justifiably, but then they became stuck. And this little environment, this little sort of cliquey culture stopped the growth, right? And so what we did is we went to them and said, you know what, guys, here's $250 each. We want you to go out of the office. You're not allowed in the office today. Go to all of our competitors' shops and just buy the stuff that would be directly competing with what you design. So, and then we said, meet us all at the local pub, bring all your stuff, and we'll just talk about it. Now, that immediately got them out of their environment. It got them having a bit of fun. It got them buying their competitors' products, actually picking it up, touching it, seeing what it was like. And what this did was immediately interrupt their mindset and got them thinking and growing again. Another example was I had a group of leaders we're doing some work with, and they said their teams are completely stuck, will not grow, we're resistant. I said, hey, why don't we just do a weekly learning process where we go around the group in their team meetings, and each week one person shares something they're learning. It might be a podcast, a YouTube video, a book, an article. And what they want to do is share that with the team, and then we're going to spend 5 to 10 minutes talking about it. Now, it doesn't have to be at work, but it does need to be about personal growth. So finances, getting fit, it could be meditation, it could be anything, mindfulness, whatever, mental health, could be skills for the job. Now, this group had done no learning for 12 to 18 months. They were stuck and stalled, mindset was locked in. And what this did was it just started to create the right kind of conversation and the movement in those neural pathways. Creativity started to come back as they started to generalize these lessons into different parts of their life. Now, immediately, and I mean within weeks, this group started to change. Okay? So it does work, Chief. Do something that breaks the fixed mindset pattern, get them growing and learning again, get them out of their current environment, get them into a space where it's fun to learn and be curious again. Okay? So, Chief, they're the 5 tips from a CEO about overcoming resistance to change. Number 1, stop and understand the context, right? 2, remember that people follow a change curve, right? And you need situational leadership for everyone involved. 3, remember your role is leaders lead and manage a process. 4, manage yourself. Really stay on top of your own game because you're going to be there for the long term. And 4, 5, break the fixed mindset pattern. Chief, I hope that helps you overcome some resistance to change. As I said, we cover a lot of this in the mini MBA in leading high performance teams. So if you want to join us, just go to chiefmaker.com/mini MBA. It's for senior leaders of sort of mid to large organizations, someone in a significant leadership role. We'd love to have you involved. Chief, as always, remember to stay epic.